Hey everyone, I am Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her podcast. I would like to welcome you an amazing guest tonight, and she has a brand. It's called Dear John Box, and I know y'all are questioning like, what is that? But I'm telling you, it is something really amazing. And I know a lot of people are in a space where they are in a healing space, they are in a transition phase they're looking for new friends or trying to remove old friends or looking for new relationships, trying to see everything possible has to do with different types of relationships. And Dear John Box is the brand for you. And it's gonna get more into it on why, but it is amazing, and I want you guys to really tune in and listen because it is really needed to have things like this, the reassurance and also the fact that knowing that someone care or even thinking of you. So I know you're still confused and you're thinking like, how does Dear John Box match with this? But I'm telling you, you are getting ready to find out. And I'd like to welcome you, Renee. Hey, Renee.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. So how are things going?
They're going great. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm excited. I'm excited about presenting. So this is great.
Yes, I am excited too because I was confused too at first and I'm like, dear John Box. And I started looking it up and everything and then I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So could you please give us a little bit of insight on exactly what is Dear John Box?
Yes, Dear John the Box is my brand. I actually launched it about 2 years ago, right after the pandemic. I'm a therapist by trade, and the company is post breakup recovery resources for women. And so it's geared towards helping women connect with resources as they go through breakup, divorce, or separation. And it was inspired by my own divorce journey that started about 15 years ago when I went through my own divorce and started to realize resources and things that I wish I had back then. And I began to kind of work on collecting those resources. And I realized that I really loved working with women on this journey. And it's been a passion and an expertise of mine for the last 15 years.
Wow, that is amazing. So, when you even just started Dear John Box, what inspired you to even start it, and what did you go through for you to be so creative with it? And it's very detailed. It is like extremely detailed on how you have your different boxes for different types of relationships.
Yes. So it all started when I was going through my divorce journey. I was here in Atlanta. I did not have very much support. I had friends, but I didn't have family nearby. And I was in grad school at the time and working two jobs. I remember being tired, and just wanting to get to the next level or to the other side of things, and just really struggling and having to find things and resources to pull myself up and lift myself up. And so I remember just wanting to have resources, but feeling too tired, and I remember having friends that were listeners and supporters, but even there was an extent to how much they could help me, and so it came to me that I had to pull things together for myself. And
Yeah.
so I started to pull the resources together, counseling. I started to go out and intentionally, build my social life back up from the ground up. But it was more than that. It was living things too. I had to start over, with a new home and a new environment, and from a place where I was used to sharing things with someone else. I was suddenly starting over from scratch by myself, and so that journey, was hard and it was rough, but it was also probably the best thing I've ever done in my life because I proved to myself that I could make it. um, And when I got to the other side, I said, I want to help other women feel this way, and support other women in this way. And that's been my motivation. I want women like me, that sometimes fall below that place where there's a lot of support and counseling resources. I'm middle class. I had a job. I was working two jobs. So I really wasn't in that place where I was getting a lot of, or qualified for a lot of resources that were out there. For some groups, I actually had to find things through my insurance and piece things together, through researching and finding them, And so I found out there are lots of women that are like me, that are kind of right in the middle, where you're not getting abundance of resources, but you're not wealthy either. You can't just, you're not out readily able to write checks, to
Yes.
expensive therapists, So you're kind of stuck in the middle of getting yourself through this process, And my heart always has gone out to that group of women, and that's been my motivation for starting this company.
Wow. Now, what is some of the impact that you made when you have different individuals purchasing the different boxes and everything?
Yeah. So, Dear John the Box, the inspiration for the name is for those of you who know the old saying, Dear John letter is kind of like what you
Yeah.
write, in the transition phase when you're leaving someone. But we all know the Dear John letters really aren't about John or Jane. It's really about, it's about us,
Yeah.
It's how we feel, and it's the unpackaging of the hurt, and maybe, the sorrow and the pain that we're feeling, and expressing what we desire, are wanted and wished for, And so I took the name and the idea behind the name, and I said, what about a box? If we package this in a way, or kind of marketed this in a way that let women know that, yes, this is an experience that's going to allow them to unpackage a lot of pain, but it's beautiful. At the end, it's something that's going to be rewarding. And so I began the box with resources that kind of were traditional, with making women feel good, the bath salts, the candles, and things like that. Um, but then I kind of wanted to tap into the collaborative piece of it, because I,
Mhm.
I think I think social connections are so important when you're going through breakups and divorces. I think you really do need to have some way of connecting. It is not just strolling on your phones and social media, but it's really, I wanted to create that atmosphere that made you feel like you could connect with someone. So then I kind of launched into a box that had um, foods and recipes, and so I've launched cook-alongs with women, where we had cook-along bashes where professional chefs came in and did demos and sold their products in the boxes, and women kind of came in droves and kind of logged in. This is during the pandemic, so women were logging in online a lot, and participating in the boxes that way, but also connecting with other women that were going through it, and learning, ways to comfort themselves, and be supportive of one another. So that was one box, and that is still ongoing. And then I really wanted to tap into the helping women that are feeling anxious, and feeling kind of um, anxious about going through this whole process, because whether you've always traditionally suffered from anxiety or not, divorces and breakups and the whole process can take you there, and
Yeah.
kind of bring that out. So the more recent boxes have products that help women relieve their anxiety. And so we have fidget rings, we have fidget toys, and things that you can kind of, and jewelry that's kind of linked to helping women release anxiety. And so that's more on the newer side of what we're releasing, because I think it's so important for women to have an avenue for, kind of releasing that um, kind of stress, but also feeling normal, and still looking cool and keeping yourself together, And so a lot of the newer jewelry out there allows us to do that, thank goodness. So the newer boxes has products like that in it as well.
Wow. So, what do you find more people more attracted to? Is it more of like the friendship breakup or more of the relationship breakup?
I think it's a mixture of both, and the reason why I say that is because there's lots of friends that contact me to find out ways to comfort their friends going through breakups.
Mhm.
And I would say they're both kind of cyclical. It depends on where that person is in the relationship. But in terms of the box and the purchases that I get through the boxes, it's usually someone that's going through a relationship breakup,
Wow.
that is usually purchasing our boxes.
Wow. Relationship breakups are really, really tough. I know sometimes I know like friends and stuff personally, sometimes it put them in a dark space. They have to basically transition and change their whole lifestyle on different things that they used to do in their life, and then it just changes them overall. Is it any type of messages that you place inside of the boxes to keep them uplifted constantly so they could like try to get out of that dark space?
Absolutely, and you said a whole lot because when we talk about breakups, on the surface we think about losing that person, that individual, that physical presence in our life,
Mm,
but in actuality, especially for women, it's just a layer or a surface of the hurt. the,
mm,
the real the real thing that you're breaking up with are dreams and hopes, and ideas of what you thought would be, or what you thought could be. And that's probably more painful in my experience of counseling with women than losing a physical presence in your life. Having to kind of reshape what your hopes look like now, without that person. I came from a place, of very comfortable living. As they say, the house on the hill with the picket fence. That was
mhm.
me. Um,
Oh,
and when I walked away from that to a one-bedroom place,
mhm.
that's deep. It's deep.
Yeah,
It's real.
it
It's real.
is.
It's
It
real.
is.
Leaving a home that I furnished, with things that I loved, walking away, leaving those things, to transition to some place that was a very different neighborhood,
Mhm.
with neighbors who drove very different cars, from eating out on almost every night to maybe not eating out at all. That was the type of transition that I had to go through. So yes, it's definitely real that it can take you to a dark place
Yeah.
very easily. And so the boxes come with affirmations. I believe in affirmations. I believe in tapping into the spirituality of things, checking into what is working for you, and checking into kind of what your needs are, what they truly are, at the place and time where when you're breaking up and when you're divorcing, because often we forget what we really want and what we need,
Right.
and I think it's actually the beautiful part of this process is that you kind of start to realize what you how you've evolved through that process and through the
Mm,
relationship. The things that you may have liked when you went into the relationship are things that were
yeah.
important back then. They're not important anymore, you know. So a lot of the services in the boxes that we come up with are, geared towards providing affirmations for women. We have a registry where women can actually come up with, and it's not just a shopping list. It's actually things that when they put items on there, we give them guidance on how to develop an affirmation, that attaches to that product or that item, and it's a free service. I don't make profit from it, but I believe it's so important that women have a chance to articulate what the meanings are for these things. Even a crock pot may have seemed simple to you back then before your divorce, but now it's about efficiency. It's about saving money. you know. But even beyond that, with an affirmation that says, this is a vessel that's going to bring forth abundance into my life, you know.
Yeah.
Creativity comes when I cook, you know. Messages like that uplift the simplest thing, you know. It makes it a beautiful experience, especially when you're going through a divorce. And that's what Dear John the Box does. That's what our services do. And many of the things I don't get paid for, you know, and I don't make a profit from it. But I believe it's important for the woman going through it to have it.
Yeah. Yeah. I it's just the thought, you know, the thought of it and you having so much to look forward to when it comes to you having that. Either they sending it through the mail or they come into your house and bring it to you. Just even just having that, I feel like it is amazing. And I saw your BFF kit. I thought that was just so cute. The BFF kit, and there was another one that I had saw. Oh, the next chapter rose. It had like the necklace and ring set. I was
Yes,
I liked that one too. That was really nice.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think so much of it, you know, when you're going through these things, when you're starting over. I remember having when I was moving out and moving into my own place.
Yeah.
I think we may have lost each other for a minute. Are you back? Okay. You're muted on my end. I think that, let's see.
I'm here. You just keep
Oh,
freezing up.
oh, okay. Oh, goodness. It's storming here in Atlanta. Suddenly, out of nowhere, right when I bragged about the weather being clear, it
Oh,
felt
that's okay.
a storm coming out, and you may hear the thunder.
Okay. That's okay. But yeah, the ones that I was telling you about that I really like those. Those are amazing. Do
Oh, thank
you
you. Thank
do
you.
you usually get creative with your boxes, seasonal or yearly? Like, do you ever switch them up or anything?
Yes, I try to do a seasonal for both the cook along boxes that have recipes in them, and also like the anxiety relieving products. We try to switch them out every season. So if not every season, at least twice a year, we try to switch it up.
Oh, that is amazing. So, do you create the boxes yourself? Do you ship them out and everything?
Currently, yes,
Okay.
it's an in-house job right now.
But you know, a lot of people don't be understanding how that footwork go.
The sweat on my brow, that's where it's from right now.
Yes, it's a lot. So, what advice do you have for women that is struggling as far as like losing a friend? Like as far as having like friendships and stuff, because breakups are, man, they just as bad as you losing someone that you are in a like relationship with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because sometimes friendships dissolve uh, around breakups and divorces and separations because the friend kind of doesn't realize or know exactly how to support that person, you know. And I'm
Mhm.
just that's just sometimes that's the case where you know people don't usually get together or meet each other and hang out, or sometimes friendships don't form when you are breaking up. It's usually when you're having a good time or when life you're in a different space, when both of you are in different spaces. And so breakups can bring you into another space where you have to navigate sometimes really hard and tough moments. And some friends are they struggle with adjusting with that. Other friends sometimes have relationships with who you're leaving, and it's hard for them to adjust with the single you. They're used to you and you've been coupled with, and
Right,
so
right.
whether it be through a relative or or if they were just friends with that person too. But that's an adjustment as well, and so people get it from both sides. But my advice, if you are in a friendship and you're struggling with kind of how to support someone through it, and even if it's not a breakup, the grieving process kind of seeps into a lot of things in life. It's not just always related to relationship loss. And I would say one of the things that friends miss most is instilling hope for that person.
Yeah.
Remembering that you're friends for a reason. There's a purpose for behind your friendship, and there's a purpose, of why you're together and what brought you together in friendship. And sometimes it takes some reflection to just remember what those things are, and remembering what that purpose is. And when someone's grieving, remember that they need some hope and light to
Yeah.
move forward, and that may be not reminding them of the past. It may be, saving some topics for another time,
Yeah.
so that that person can kind of grow and kind of see through the woods and the trees, so to speak, and get to the lighter parts of where they need to be to have certain discussions. So um, it, there's no guide to this, and everyone's different, of course, but it's definitely, if you have a solid friendship, it's worth saving. It's worth exploring ways to save that. And that's one of the things that our friendship boxes do. There's lots of things you can do together with friends. There's a dinner in a dice kit where you actually take turns rolling dice, and there's menu ideas in there. So it's interactive, and it's just this is low key, but it's interactive, and it's a way that you can kind of have fun, or add some fun to a girls' night in. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so that's one of the things that I really love about the friendship box that we have out right now.
That is nice. That is really nice. So do you have any boxes for what if like someone lost a spouse or something?
And through death or divorce or separation
Through death.
type of. Okay, well, the boxes are geared towards death, but it certainly can be used. I have had some
Okay.
widows actually call me and say that they have purchased a box, which I thought was very, very enlightening for me, because I feel like the grieving process applies, to women who have lost, their spouses through
Yeah.
that way. I will say my products aren't geared or specialized for that group,
Mhm.
but I have been contacted by women who've joined our cook-alongs, especially, that have said, I lost my husband because he passed away, but I enjoy your cook-alongs because I'm with other single women who are recovering, and trying to move forward with their lives, and I enjoy that. So
Wow. That is sweet. So tell me, how do the cook-alongs go? Like, are you guys playing music or are you interacting with them? Are you guys like doing different things? Uh-oh. Guys, we have like an interference right now, so she
oh,
be coming back.
sorry, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Connection is still spotty. Um, Great, and the weather here. The storm is raging over here.
That's okay. That's
Uh,
okay.
um, the cook-alongs are really exciting when we don't have them as often because we have to find chefs that are on board that have products to put into the boxes, but also
Okay.
chefs that are willing to do the demonstrations, and so we try to make it live. And so we've had Facebook live sessions, and we've had some that were actually in person, where women came out to locations at restaurants and things like that. The idea kind of came along when from when I counseled women in groups. I've had grief therapy groups for women, and one of the things that we would do is occasionally meet in restaurants, or we meet in visit each other's kitchens, and actually make recipes as part of our icebreaker
Oh
for the
wow.
group therapy session. And one thing about food, let me tell you, food brings people together, and especially when you're talking about things that are heavy, like divorce and breakup. It's a topic when you're among strangers. It's kind of like, ooh, sis, I don't know you like that. I'm not
Mhm.
going to open up and share, readily. And so, in my years of leading therapy groups, it has been really, really enlightening to bring women together when they're cooking and in the kitchen, and exchanging recipes, because in one way or another, usually a woman will feel, or a client will feel comfortable sharing, what their favorite recipe or ingredient is, or why they like to make, a food a certain way or another. So it
Oh,
kind of opens up a layer. And then once they get to talking, then we get into the therapy pieces, or, it's easier to kind of get into some heavier topics from there. But that's where the cook along idea came from. And of course, in social media settings, we don't go that deep into therapy topics, but the idea is the same. It's something that gets women going. And for those of you who are listening and you're thinking of fellowship ideas, I highly recommend it. I think that it's especially since we're kind of we're transitioning out of the pandemic phase where people are more social now. I think it's a cool idea if you're looking for ways to fellowship and bring women together, to support one another.
wow, that is amazing. So, how can anyone purchase any of your John boxes?
Sure, they can visit my website. It's www.dearjohnthebox.com. And they can also visit me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Dear John Box, and also Facebook at Dear John the Box. So that's
Okay. Well, what is something inspiring and that you would like to say to the audience for something that you could leave them with?
I would love to just leave everyone with um, knowing that love is a feeling that is free, and it also heals a lot better than hate. So
Oh,
if you're holding on to some things that feel more like hate, please, please, please work through it, because there's a lot more love in the world
mm-hmm.
than that, you know.
A lot.
And the more you surround yourself with it, the more it comes out of you. And know that if you're going through a breakup, um, don't feel bad about crying. Don't feel bad about releasing those types of feelings. Sometimes there's stigma around crying. And I really feel like, allow yourself to feel, and be happy that you're able to feel.
Yes.
I think that that's another thing I'd love to leave with everyone, is that to know that um, when you reflect on past relationships, whether it be through a friendship or relationship with someone, if it's in the past, know that it's okay to to remember and focus on the good parts. Some people are afraid to do that because they feel like it may make them feel more sad. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
allow yourself to remember how that person made you smile, and
Yeah.
allow yourself to remember how that person made you feel valued and important, because it's those moments that you can identify other sources that'll make you feel the same way.
That is so true. That is so true. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for creating something so amazing for people to look forward to. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I really enjoyed talking to you tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This has
Thank
been
you. So thank you everyone for tuning in to Life Hurt Podcast. You can review this video on all social media platforms and also YouTube. And of course, y'all see Max over here tussling with
I see
everything.
Max. Hey, Max. Hey,
Maxwell giving it a show. And I would love for you guys to subscribe and watch plenty of more amazing entrepreneurs just like Renee. I appreciate you all and have a good night.